What's going on, everybody? We are getting ready to do a quick little impromptu post game as we talk about the Tennessee Titans 34-3 win over the Buccaneers in preseason game number 2. We're going to get started in just a second, and make sure y'all share this show out, and we are going to get this show going right about now. And this is impromptu, so stick with me. It might be some changes, but we're going to wing it a little and have a good time. Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody? I apologize for the technical difficulty there, but welcome in to TNT Postgame. I am your host, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer, and we're going to have a real fun episode tonight. Make sure y'all share this show out. If you hit that share button on YouTube, go ahead and share it out and just let everybody know they need to come on in and check this show out. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, definitely make sure that you do that as well. And help me out. I'm almost at 1,000. Help a brother out. Get to that point. I'm almost there. So, yeah, see that information right here. And so, again, hit that like button. Help me get to 1,000. And you follow on any of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure y'all definitely do that. And we're getting this show started as we talk about, as we said in the beginning, the Tennessee Titans defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-3 in preseason game number 2. Now, I take this game with, there were a lot of things that were good about this game, but I also take it with a little bit of grain of salt because, again, it is the preseason. That's what we have to think about. It's the preseason. Really can't read a whole lot into that, but there are some things that we could take a look at because, yes, a lot of starters did not play. You know, guys like, for Tampa Bay, Golden Boy or Mike Evans or Levante David or Devin White. None of those guys played. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, those guys did not play. A lot of guys are backups and depth guys, and I know we see quite a few people in here. Got Titan Rossi in here, and y'all check out Titan Rossi. I was on his show Friday night as we previewed the game. And, of course, he was there at the game himself. So shout out to Titan Rossi and shout out to the Kinseys. Definitely going to talk a little bit about Mason later on. We got Jameson up in here, says defense look really locked in and on point. I agree. And let's see, Jameson talking to Rossi saying it was a good thing to take in. We got AZ Mick in the house. We got Titans Hugo in the house. We got Voicerous. I hope I didn't get, if I got it wrong, I apologize. On that, we got Hakeem. We got Hakeem in here. We got Josh up in here. What's going on? We got on Facebook. And on Facebook, you're saying, is this on YouTube? Yes, it is. Come on in. And, of course, a lot of people are talking about Mekhi Sargent. We're definitely going to get into that. What's up, Reggie? We got Courtney up in here. What's going on? Defense look much more improved. We're definitely going to start with that. So we'll get to more of your comments as we keep going through the show. But, yes, let's see. What do we take away from this game? Who stood out? We'll start on the defensive side of the ball because that's where most of the attention has been. And, again, the defensive line definitely did some good work as far as getting penetration and as far as getting upfield. Now, they may have not gotten as many sacks as they did the last game, but you could tell there's definitely some improvement. Tier Tart, once again, showing up big on the list. And also you got, your guys like Daquan Jones, who's really showed up as well in the docket also. And I mean, you got John Simon who had a big sack. David Long came through on a sack and everything. So I like the defensive line and the front seven doing some good work. Then on the back half, man, Elijah Molden. The dude looks like he's close to ready. And I mean, I remember TD Teron Davenport of ESPN. He was hyped about Elijah Molden a lot. And I see why. Led the team in tackles, had 7 tackles, had a sack. He helped deflect a ball off of his helmet, which turned into an interception as well. So, I mean, Molden was all over the field. He also did a great job on a stick tackle on a screen pass. He recognized it and just blew that play all the way up. Elijah Molden, I mean, not going to go too much into that, but for a first game, looked damn good. I mean, looked really good as far as I'm concerned. You had the safeties, definitely did some work, had a couple of turnovers and everything. So I like the way this defense is played. Now, on the other side of it, Caleb Farley did get on the field as well for about 16 snaps, kind of got his feet wet. Did not look all that great. He looked like he was a bit uncomfortable and out of place at times, but I think he's going to get better with experience. We have to remember, Caleb Farley has not played a game until now in about 18 months. This is his first game in almost 2 years. So you kind of got to remember that. And know it's going to take him a little time to get into game shape and really come along. But I think this is going to help him. This is definitely going to help him. Now, we're looking at some other comments. Like I said, Cordy Jack said defense looks much improved. Maybe the strongest side of the team to start the season, and I'm okay with that. I agree. Josh says, do we actually have a defense now? I'm not going to say we have a defense yet, but I'm going to say we're trending up. We're definitely trending up. I will say if we see this happening in the regular season, then, oh, yeah, I will definitely say we got a defense, without a doubt. Jameson says, yep, the Titans put a beat down on the Bucs, a little bit of a payback for the Thursday joint practice. Now, that was more against the starters, but that's true. I definitely like that. Let's see. Brandon, what's going on? Vorsutus. Okay, Vorsutus. All right. Hey, we're going to work with that. We're going to work that out. Tyrod says, thanks for the shout-out. I haven't been to a game in years. Hey, I miss going to Nissan Stadium, and I can't wait to be there week 1. By the way, if anybody needs a ticket to the Bears game, I am a season ticket holder. I will unfortunately not be able to be there. Contact me, and we can definitely work out a negotiation. Right now, we can work out a negotiation on that, and we can work it out. So if you want a ticket to the Bears game, get up with me, and we'll definitely do the negotiation of finances, and we'll work that out. Let's see. Brandon says Tart is solid. Tier Tart solid. Chris Frazier says Tart and Weaver. And Reggie says, as much as we take preseason with a grain of salt, it does say a lot about the coordinators and the way they had the guys prepared. That was a big question mark in the offseason. Agreed. Some other people, Josh says Elijah Molden, Sargent, Barkley, Ficken, Body Calhoun. Now, Body Calhoun is probably not going to make the roster, but he was very impressive. He was very impressive in some things that he did in this particular game. And with the safety position behind Hooker and Byard just being decimated by injury, guys like Clayton Geathers, who does have experience, who I think has an outside shot of making the team as well, and maybe like a Body Calhoun, they could help. They definitely could help with that. Kent Wood said, what up, Truth? Good game for the defense. Yes. CJ2K, I'm happy we are blitzing a lot more than last year. Let's see. C-Dub. C-Dub, I ain't heard from you in quite some time. Said our defensive depth will be a ton better than last year. Love seeing that hit by Bolden when his helmet flew off. I did too. I did too. Absolutely. And I just, I'm definitely with that. Let's see. I saw Clowney said, when are you going to bring No Flags Film on the show? I got to talk to No Flags Film. I got to meet him for the first time on Titan Rossi's show. And I mean, the guy is extremely knowledgeable. Saw some of his videos, extremely impressive. They have to have him on to break down, to probably break down some film and things like that. So, we'll definitely have to break down the team and see what we could definitely do. So I'm down for that. Titan Rossi says I'll be there week 1. And you know what? I'm thinking about set up a link up on Sunday morning, on that Sunday morning before the game as well. So maybe that's something where I go live on here with everybody before the game. So we'll definitely take a look at that. James says defensive standout, Tart, Weaver, Long, Molden, Fulton, and Brett Kern. No touchdowns in 2 games. That much is true. So I like the defense definitely standing out. So there were some guys that stand out good, some guys that stood out not so good. I think Farley will get better as the time goes along. So that's something that, is going to be beneficial later. Reggie says the front office did such a good job bringing in a competitive 90 that when we get down to 53, we have to let go of some good players. And that's true. And they were saying that on the broadcast. There are going to be a lot of good players the Titans are going to have to let go that either maybe the Titans could sneak on the practice squad or some other team is going to pick up. So for a lot of these guys, they're not really playing out for the Titans. They're auditioning for other teams. They're putting film so that other teams can see them and be like, okay, maybe we could bring this guy onto our roster or onto our practice squad. So that's something that we could definitely take a look at. Going to the other side of the ball, and I start with it was all freaking good. I mean, what a freaking good time we had the other night. I mean, Sam Ficken took full advantage of the fact that Tucker McCann was not able to go because of injury. I mean, I know that's unfortunate. But Sam Ficken made all of his kicks. He was 4-4 on extra points and hit 2 big field goals, one from 48 and one from 58. One of the longest field goals I've seen in a long time since Robbie B hit from 60. And he got plenty of leg on that one. Like, he hit it from 58, and it had plenty of room to spare. He could have probably hit that from 60, 61 if he wanted to. So, Ficken has the lead as the kicker right now. I definitely will say that. So, on the offensive side of the ball, besides Ficken looking good, again, our usual suspects did their job. Chester Rogers had a couple of nice catches when he was in there. Mason Kinsey, Tighten Uploads man crush. And I know Tighten Upload will probably look at this later. That's his man crush. That's the guy he's in love with. Shout out to Tighten Upload. Shout out to my guy. I love him to death. But Mason Kinsey, I don't think it's just that he has an outside shot of making this team anymore. He has a legitimate chance to make this team. And honestly enough, I think he's pushing guys like Cam Batson, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Racy McMath, and to a smaller extent, Marcus Johnson. He's pushing those guys behind him. Mason Kinsey, I don't know what he'll do special teams-wise, but Mason Kinsey, he's making noise. He is making some noise, and he is making this extremely, extremely difficult on the Titans brass. They really do need to consider taking him. And I think, and Clowney Super Bowl says, how many receivers and which ones do you think the Titans will keep? Right now, I'm going to say 7. And I'm just going to say on top of my head, here are the 7 as best as I can do it. AJ Julio, easy. Josh Reynolds, Chester Rogers. As much as he probably doesn't deserve to be on the team, Des Fitzpatrick, because he's a 4th-round pick. I don't like that, but I think he's like the last one in. Marcus Johnson and Mason Kinsey. Now, I will probably say Kinsey or Johnson, one of those two might not make it because they need a special teams guy, and maybe that's where Racing McMath comes into play because they need a guy on special team to be a gunner, either him or Westbrook Akina. One of those two is probably going to take the spot of either Johnson or Kinsey or both. But those are my 7. I would go, again, Julio, AJ, Josh, Dez, although I probably would kick Dez off. Let me just scratch that off. I'm saying what I think we should do. Julio, AJ, Josh, Chester Rogers, Mason Kinsey, Marcus Johnson, Racing McMath. That's my 7. Dez goes to the practice squad, although he may not make it through the practice squad because somebody's going to pick him up. He was a 4th-round pick. I think Nick Westbrook Akina is pretty much out, I think. And Cam Batson, I think, is out too. So that's just my thought. And, of course, I knew Upload was going to show up. Shout out to Titan Upload. You had a good show yesterday with that. So shout out to Titan Upload as well. I see we got 25, 26 people in here. Let's get those like buttons up. Hit them up. Smash it. And let's see if we can get up to over 30 or 40 people up in here. And let's keep this show going. But Mason Kinsey, I think, definitely deserves to be on this football team. I don't know if he'll make it, but he deserves to be on this team. Des Fitzpatrick making a couple of catches, catching a touchdown. He still has a lot of work to do, but I think that is a major, major confidence boost for him. He needed that big time. He needed that. Chester Rogers does his usual thing. Tight end wise, I really didn't see anybody stand out. I mean, Ferkser caught a couple passes early, but after that, I really didn't see anything from the tight ends that would be worth talking about. Quarterbacks, they kind of did some splitting between Barkley and Logan Woodside. They kind of went back and forth. Honestly, I think Matt Barkley has a great shot at being the number 2. I really do. I think Matt Barkley could be the number 2, in my honest opinion. It looks like the offense flows a lot better with him than with Woodside. Woodside is more of a check down Charlie. He's going to try to make the safest throws. He's not going to take any chances going downfield as, say, Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley would take a couple of chances going downfield and everything. So, like, I want to say Logan Woodside only threw 2 or 3 passes over 20 yards, and I believe completed one of them for a score, which I believe was to Des Fitzpatrick. Matt Barkley, threw it over 20 yards 6 times, connecting on 3, and a touchdown to Mason Kinsey. So, I definitely like Matt Barkley. I think Barkley has a chance to be the number 2. So I definitely like where that's going. That's a pretty good competition right there. At running back, Mekhi Sargent. He's taking advantage with Darrington Evans down. And, I mean, we know Derrick Henry, Darrington Evans, Corey Blasingame are on. But Mekhi Sargent is really making a push to be that last running back and pushing Brian Hill and Jeremy McNichols on out the way. And I think Jeremy McNichols should go ahead and get cut now. McNichols only had 5 carries for -7 yards. Brian Hill didn't really do anything either. But Mekhi Sargent had a couple of really tough, nice runs. So I like some of that stuff there with Mekhi Sargent. I think he has a legit chance to be the number 3. And then last but not least, the offensive line. The offensive line, the backups are just not very good. I mean, Dylan Raydunce, he was in there a lot pretty much the whole game. Started off at guard, then moved to tackle. Joe Tryon worked him quite a bit in this game. Dylan Radunz has a long way to go. I honestly thought it was his job to lose, but right now, he ain't winning the job. They trust Ty Sambrailo or Kendall Lamb a little bit more, probably more Sambrailo than anything. And so I think that's where they're going to start for the beginning of the year is with Sambrailo. Radunz still got some work to do. I mean, I think Radunz at the end will be better. I mean, we remember Nate Davis started off slow and then really got better as the year went on. So I think that's what's going to happen with Dylan Radunz as well. But the rest of the offensive line, my God, if any of the starting offensive line goes down, we could be in trouble. Besides Aaron Brewer, Kendall Lamb, David Quesenberry, if anybody else on the inside goes down like Ben Jones or Nate Davis or Roger Saffold, that's what some trouble is. Now, if one of the three go down, Brewer can insert into that position. But if two guys go down, that's where we're really going to have a problem. But I think offensive line-wise will be okay because most of those guys playing on the offensive line will not be on the team. So, guys like Daniel Munyer will not be on the team. I think Herron, another guy. Barnwart, now, I know some people were talking good about Barnwart. I believe he's from Iowa, if I'm not mistaken, plays some guard. I don't really know much about him, but backup offensive lineman wasn't looking that great to me. So that was probably the downside of this particular game. And I see we got 34, 35 people. Let's keep it up. Let's go to 40. Let's keep it going. I appreciate everybody in. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do subscribe to the channel. Please help me. Help me help you. And help me get to 1,000. I'm almost there, y'all. And I really would appreciate it. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and make sure you subscribe to that channel. Hit that like button. I will be giving away a Titans and Truth shirt. I will do a drawing for once we hit 1,000. I will do a drawing. Winner will get a free Titans and Truth shirt. Which, give me just a second, I'll put them on here. You got the Navy, you got the Carolina, and then that's what's on the back. So if y'all are interested in getting a Titans and Truth shirt before we move forward, here's the contact information for my girl, Miss LaToya, at queenbutterflytees@gmail.com or on Instagram at queenbutterflytees. And then, of course, my email, canewell817@gmail.com. Or you could just hit me up on Facebook on the TNT Enforcers page, on Instagram at Titans_N_Truth, or on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. And if you have my personal Facebook, Chris A. Newell, you can also get with me there also. But let's get back to talking about this game. I'm going to get to more of your comments. CW says, I think the COVID shutdown hurt the Titan defense last year. I'm sure they would not say it, but I'm pretty sure it played a part. Definitely. Titan Rob says, rest in peace, Floyd Reese. Yeah, we're going to definitely talk about that because that definitely hurt my heart. Titan Tiger 1000. Kicking game stood out. I agree. Reggie says, I expect most of the initial cuts from the O-line backups. That could be true. Titan Rob said, there just seems like there's something different this year with the defense. I know it's just preseason, but these guys are prepared. That says something about coaching. Well, we're definitely going to see as the season goes on. Reggie says it could have easily been 60. Ty Ross says, thicken it. Freaking kicking like a ball. And James said, I think the kicking issue is taken care of. Maybe, and it looks good. Voice to this says, guys, I forgot as well. Let's see. But like this man's video. Well, hopefully you do. Definitely you do. Let's see. Reggie said, do you think Marcus Johnson makes it? I heard good things from camp, but not much action in game. And maybe that's why they're holding him out. Maybe because he is going to make the team. Marcus Johnson has been very impressive in practice. I just haven't seen him much in the game, so I don't know what's going on there. I have really no idea with that. So we'll definitely see. CW says, Reese is dearly missed by me from Jared and GM. His football knowledge was excellent. He will be missed by a lot of people, just a testament. And we'll definitely talk about that. Jameson says, salute to Sargent. That guy looks really good at running the ball. I agree. Tightens up, says Mason Kinsey. Tighten up load, of course, talking about Mason Kinsey. Joseph says, I nominate Matt Barkley as our number 2. Reggie says, I think Racy has huge upside. Ty Rob says, Bolden play reminds me of Cortland Finnegan. And I agree. He's got that aggressive tenacity like a Cortland Finnegan. I do agree. Voice says, does your wife know about you and Kinsey? I'll pick it on upload on that one. Because, yes, we know that Tighten Upload has a major man crush on Mason Kinsey. He had him on his show last year, has a pretty good relationship with him. So, I mean, Mason Kinsey seems like a really great guy, a guy that could definitely do some damage on this football team. Clowney says, Long is better than Rashawn. Now, David Long's play, I'm not going to say it's for this year. It's for next season. Because eventually – Evans and Brown are on contract years. One of them is probably gone. And I would say if I had to choose one to stay, I'm going with Jayon Brown right now. But we got to see how he does injury-wise. Wow, Titan Anderson's on here. What's going on? Welcome in. I welcome anybody in. Let's see. Just trying to catch some more. Tight Anderson said Chester Rogers needs to be our punt returner. He's going to be our punt returner. He's going to be. That's pretty much a lock, in my honest opinion. And Titan Rossi, he did, yes, no flags, did mention Christian DeLauro at tackle. I really didn't get to see a lot of DeLauro last night. Wasn't really just overly impressed with the offensive line as a whole. So that's why I really kind of not really going into the O-line like that, because it just wasn't impressive to me. But again, Titans did a great job last night. They have basically outscored opponents 57-6 in the last 2 games. 57-6. No touchdowns given up by the defense. They've caused turnovers. They've had, I want to say they had 3 interceptions last night, I want to say, because you had the Geathers interception off of Moden. You had the Body Calhoun scoop and score off of the fumble. You had Jamal Carter, who was just signed. He had an interception. And I'm trying to think of one more person. I think one more person had an interception as well. I cannot remember who that was. But I want to say those 3 guys had interceptions, and also, Geathers, Carter had interceptions, and then Body Calhoun had a pick 6. So I think that's what that was. So I'm definitely trying to do so. Let's see. Oh, Bolden had a pick. That's what it was. Okay. Thank y'all for helping me out. Remember, y'all know me. If I make a mistake, hold me accountable. Y'all know what to do. So I just liked how the defense is. That was one thing last year that the defense did very well. Cause turnovers. Now I think if they could cause turnovers and stop some people, they're going to be really good. And again, all they really need to do is get between 12 and about 17 ranked. That's what they need to do with this offense. I think they'll do some good. And it was great offensively, even though they didn't play. We saw Ryan Tannehill dress up. We saw A.J. Brown dressed up. Julio Jones dressed as well, was there with the team. So maybe that's a positive sign that Julio maybe will practice. We don't know. Vrabel ain't going to say anything at all. So let's see. Voices said had 1.5 sacks, huge screen breakup, had some nice breakup. Yeah. Again, I was extremely impressed with Molden. I liked when he had that hit on the screen game. I was like, oh. I was like, yes, I'll take the helmet off. I was like, yes, sir. I'm like, I was feeling that. And that's what I was saying. And like you said, Jameson, he's just now scratching the surface. He's nowhere near his prime yet. And Chester Rogers said, look great at punt returner and did a nice job on the kickoff return, even though they called a penalty on Rashard Weaver for illegal double block, which I'm like, how you going to call an illegal double block? But I guess it's just to protect. They're trying to protect players, so to speak. So that's kind of what I saw with that. I like the game. We'll definitely talk Wednesday some more about, some people that get cut, because remember, cuts are coming up again. So last week they went from 90 to 85. This week Tuesday they go from 85 to 80. So another 5 guys are going to get cut this week. And then next week after the Bears game, next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, they will be cutting 37. They will be cutting 37 guys, because they got to get down from 80 to 53. I want to say that's right. Yeah. No, 27. I'm sorry. They're going to cut 27 more guys because they're going to get down from 80 to 53. So that's what we're definitely looking at. Let's see. We got Wuzia Game Central. If our first team defense plays as well as our backups, we'll win the Super Bowl easily. I like that. Appreciate you joining the show. Wuzia Game Central, thank you. Again, if y'all have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. And yeah, again, if the defense plays like this, we got a legitimate chance to win the whole thing, in my honest opinion. We do. And we're doing this without even having our offensive guys playing yet. Let's see. James says, was a horrible party in the eyes of Coach McGinnis from the Titan Radio broadcast last night on that kickoff when he got called back. Oh, you're saying it was a horrible penalty in the eyes of Coach McGinnis. Okay. And we know Coach McGinnis knows a whole lot more about football than all of us combined. So, and like you said, I thought that was a terrible call too. But you got to protect the players. And I kind of understand that a little bit. Not very much, though. So, again, nice win. I take it with a grain of salt. We saw some guys that stood out like Elijah Molden. I think Caleb Farley is going to come along. He was getting his feet wet, and that's fine. That's fine. Ray Dunce, I think, is going to continue to get better. That's fine. Everybody has a game where they struggle. So we're definitely going to see going into game 3. Let's see. Wuzia Gameson said, just came by to give you a like and a view. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. But let's continue on. We've talked about the game and everything, but let's talk about some other news that did come out today. And that was that Coach Vrabel did test positive for COVID-19 today. This came out earlier today. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, what happened? Why did this happen? And anything like that. It could very well have been contact tracing. We don't know. And so right now he is in quarantine, and he's just saying that, I'm going to be in quarantine, and I'll do everything I can to help the team from home. So he's going to be in quarantine. And the rule is, of course, after that, within 48 hours, he has to have 2 negative COVID tests. So it could have been that he tested positive and he comes back 48 hours later, test negative. And then he has to test negative again 48 hours after that. After that. So if he gets 2 negative tests, he can return. He can return before the Bears game. But if not, he's going to have to at least quarantine for 10 days. before he could return to the facility and be with the team. So there's probably a good chance he might not be coaching in this game against the Bears. So we'll definitely see about that. Hopefully, again, it's just contact tracing, and he may be asymptomatic and everything. So we'll definitely have to check on that, and hope everything will be okay. Let's see. Voice of the says, did anyone else think it was funny that, and I may be wrong, but I didn't see Arian say one word? I don't know. I really didn't pay attention to that as far as anything that Arians had to say. So, probably not much. You're probably disappointed in his backups. Money Mike says, who is the kicker going to be? Right now, I'm looking at Sam Ficken. Definitely looking at Sam Ficken, without a doubt. He's taking advantage of Tucker McCann being down. We'll have to see where that goes. Brandon Bauer says, my boy, these Titans will be growing stronger throughout the year. Defensive coach putting in that work. I agree. And shout out to Brandon, and prayers up for your mom. Prayers up for your mom that she will be okay and everything will be all right. As he ties up, says, thank God for Schwartz. Thanks Schwartz for that. Let's see. James said they got to get down to 53. Going to be some tough choices. That much is true. There are some guys that are really making it very, very tough for them to make cuts. Skinny Bob says at least he got COVID in the preseason, not the regular season. That's true. And I want to say he was fully vaccinated. Kent Woods, he was vaccinated. So again, y'all, just because you are fully vaccinated does not mean you can't contract COVID. I'm fully vaccinated as well, and I could still contract it. So, very well, Vrabel could be very asymptomatic. I believe he said he woke up with a sore throat, or something like that. So that's probably why he got tested, and then they found out. So they did say he did hang out with Brady. Said probably too close to his boy Tom Brady. And like he said, Brandon said it. COVID is terrible. It is no joke. I agree. And I implore you, if you have not been vaccinated, please go get vaccinated. Go get vaccinated because that will help. That will help and give you an extra layer of protection. This COVID is not a game, y'all. It's still taking people's lives right now. It's taking our children's lives. So come on. I'm just saying. That's just Chris Newell's talking. But let's keep going. Bruce Arians was going off last night. Was surprised he was so amped up like that for a preseason. Well, coaches are going to be amped up because they want to see some good out of all of their players, not just the starters. So, yeah. Anytime you see a loss, coaches are going to be disappointed. Brandon says, thanks, my dude, means so much to my family now. Of course. We're all family here. We all pull for each other. We don't want nothing bad to happen to any of us. So, we got to, come together. And see, Tyrod says this is going to be interesting. I just hope it does not snowball into something bigger for him and other players and coaches. He should be okay. He is vaccinated. Now, I agree with that. And so the Titans are definitely following protocols. They're following everything that they're supposed to do with that. So I don't think it's really nothing much to go into. But again, he's got to be quarantined and do the right thing by the team. So before we end this show tonight, and I appreciate every last one of you being in here. I know a lot of y'all are probably finna go to bed because y'all got to go to work in the morning. So we're going to get ready to wrap this show up. But again, I got to give some sad news, unfortunately. And that is former Titans general manager, former Titans and Oilers general manager, and friend of this show and also formerly of Jared and the GM, Mr. Floyd Reese, passed away yesterday. He passed away at the age of 73. So, again, general manager, former Titan general manager, Oilers general manager, Mr. Floyd Reese has passed away. He passed away yesterday at the young age of 73 years old. I will give a quick moment of silence before I give my thoughts. Thank y'all for that. But Mr. Floyd Reese, he leaves behind his wife, Miss Sally, and his children and grandchildren. And what I want to quickly do is talk a little bit about the man, Floyd Reese. Very instrumental with the Titans coming from Houston to Tennessee to Nashville when the Oilers became the Titans. He was a big part of that along with Jeff Fisher and was a very big part of this team's success. He was the guy that helped draft Eddie George and Steve McNair and Derek Mason and brought in Drew Bennett and a lot of these guys. Was very instrumental in that. And I know a lot of us kind of got on him when he had to cut a lot of our big-time talent, but salary cap can do that to you. But, I mean, Mr. Floyd was extremely influential in a lot of things that the Tennessee Titans were able to do and to be as successful as they are. And a couple of my fondest memories of Mr. Floyd, number one is from Jared and the GM. Obviously, Jared Stillman is a friend of the show, definitely a supporter. He gets me to the front of the line whenever I call in. I appreciate that. But a couple of times I got to call in and speak, with Mr. Floyd and give my thoughts. And, he would give his opinions on it because I know he knows a lot more about football than I do. And Javon Curse, too. He definitely did help with Javon Curse. We won't forget about that. But I enjoy, listening to him on the radio, listening to him spit his amazing football knowledge. And I remember meeting him personally. They were doing a pregame. They were doing an NFL pregame show before the Titans took on the Chiefs in the wild card playoff that Marcus Mariota threw the touchdown pass to himself, and we beat the Chiefs. That was before they drafted Patrick Mahomes. And so I remember, I believe I was walking in to the Wild Horse Saloon. I think Mr. Floyd and his wife, Miss Sally, were either walking outside for a minute or they were going to do something for just a moment. And I was able to have the pleasure of not only meeting Mr. Floyd in person, but meeting Miss Sally in person. And I mean, two absolutely class individuals. I mean, Miss Sally was so sweet. I mean, she is, as sweet as could be, a very beautiful lady, a very kind lady. And Mr. Floyd was just, is just as much of a class act as everybody has said about him. And so I know there were also some times that him and Jeff Fisher had some disagreements because there was I think Mr. Floyd wanted to draft Devin Hester and Coach Fisher wanted somebody else, and they went with who Jeff Fisher wanted. So there was definitely, there was always some tension, and that can be like that with any GM and coach sometimes. So I thought, I wanted to give a little bit of a remembrance to him and everything because he was a class individual, and I'm gonna miss him dearly. And it hurt when I heard about this. It hurt my heart to the core. But again, rest in peace, rest in heaven to the great Mr. Floyd Reese. He passed away at the age of 73. And so let me go ahead and get to some of your comments before we get ready to wrap up the show. Let's see. Tighten Up Low says, great show, true, and prayers to the Reese family. Thank you for that. Looks like Ackerman is going to be running things while he is gone. I hope not. Jason York says, thank you, Floyd. Let's see. Joseph says, who will be coaching this Saturday night if Coach Vrabel is still sick? I don't know. That's a very good question. Watch TB blame the Titans if their golden boy Brady gets it just like last year with the Steelers. Yeah, that could be true. Titan Ross said, I had COVID about 6 months ago. I was okay. It just made me really tired. Was not vaccinated at the time. Well, I'm glad you are vaccinated now. Definitely. Jameson said, yep, so impressed by the Titans' performance last night. Jason mentioned Javon Curse. Next Level Sports says, it's amazing he went from the coaching staff to the front office. He's a huge part of Titans history. And that's something that a lot of people forget. And that's something that I didn't even know until really I hear him on Jared and the GM, was that he was a coach. He was a special teams coach, I believe, in Detroit with the Lions, if I'm not mistaken, a long time ago. And he definitely has some coaching experience. Of course, he has an affinity. He had an affinity for UCLA, being from California. So, he definitely did a lot for this franchise. Jameson says, rest in peace to Floyd Reese. Joseph says, Jared Stillman is going through a hard time. I know that's hurting him. I know it's hurting Jared because him and Floyd were definitely friends. And so I don't know how Jared is going to get through Monday, but they're probably a lot of shows are going to do tributes tomorrow to Floyd Reese tomorrow. I'm pretty darn sure. Let's see. Big Chris, I appreciate that. Go to Titans GM, rest well, Floyd. And also remember, it was Floyd Reese who called President Steve Underwood and recommended John Robinson for the GM job. So Mr. Floyd played an influential part in John Robinson becoming the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Played a big part in that. See, Next Level says, is there any truth to be that he and Jeff Fisher didn't want VY and Bud Adams forced to pick his last year with the team? I can't think of any of his other busts. I want to say that was the truth because Bud Adams Mr. Bud did push for that draft pick of Vince Young. And I think what happened was that I really think that the Titans wanted Jeff Fisher, and I think the Titans wanted to draft Matt Leinart at that time, and Bud pushed so hard because he wanted one of his Texas boys to come in here. And so I think there is a little bit of truth to that. Let's see. James says Floyd was influential with the Titans coming to Nashville. Reddy says Bolden is a dog. David Long is a great backup to Jayon. Again, I like to see Jayon and Long together. Kent says hopefully the team can go win a Super Bowl for the Reese family. What a great tribute that would be. I agree. I see Weaver as potentially replacing Evan. Weaver doesn't play inside linebacker though, Reggie. He's going to be a pass rusher. And there was a little bit of time he played inside as well. So I don't think Weaver replaces Rashaan Evans as an inside linebacker, but as far as helping with pass rush, definitely. Next level says Weaver and Evans are two different positions. I can see him unseating Landry. Now, I agree. Weaver coming in, if he has a nice little year coming off the bench, that could put Landry in a little bit of trouble. That much I do agree with. So, again, everybody, I just wanted to come in and give my 2 cents on the game and also on, the passing of Floyd Reese and also Mike Vrabel getting COVID-19, but definitely hoping that he recovers from that as well. So, and also, y'all, be on the lookout. Got coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to have our very first Ladies Night show coming up as we get ready to prepare for week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. I will be having a few female Titan fans as guests. We may also get some female Titans media to join us as well. So y'all make sure you tell your female friends who are Titans fans out there also to come join in, as we are going to have our first Ladies Night show in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. We will have a show Wednesday talking about the cuts and getting ready for the game against the Chicago Bears. So definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully everybody has a very good rest of the evening. And I thank y'all for tuning in to Titans and Truth. And again, y'all know what to do. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe channel, and always tighten up because that's all we know how to do. And I will definitely be seeing y'all very, very soon.
AFC Championship 2020. 1908. You did it again, man. Can't beat the GOAT on the beats. 1908. Tight. Tight. Man, we got Derek here.